Whenever I go out walking, I always find myself drawn towards water. Whether it be a river, a lake, the ocean, and even a bottle of water, I inevitably end up by its side. Not only do I have a passion for swimming and kayaking, I also feel the historical connection that us humans have to water, and am fascinated by the evidence for this all over the world. From the elegance of the canals in Venice to the significance of the River Nile, to name but two, you can see how we have manipulated nature to our advantage. The myth of Atlantis and the undeniable evidence of coastal flooding during the end of the last ice age is a powerful reminder of how fragile that balance can sometimes be. Historically Great Marlow, or Chipping Marlow, the town of Marlow is a civil parish within the unitary authority of Buckinghamshire, England. It is located on the River Thames, 4 miles southwest of High Wycombe, 5 miles northwest of Maidenhead, and 33 miles west of central London. The name Marlow dates back to 1015 and means the land left after the draining of a pond. During Norman times, the manor, parish, and later borough were formerly known as Great Marlow, distinguishing them from Little Marlow. In 1896, the civil parish of Great Marlow, created in the 19th century from the ancient parish, was divided into Great Marlow Urban District, which was the town, and Great Marlow Civil Parish, which was the rural areas. Then, in 1897, the urban district was renamed Marlow Urban District, and from then on the town has been known simply as Marlow. Marlow owes its importance to its location on the River Thames, where the road from Reading to High Wycombe crosses the river. It had its own market by 1227, hence the name Chipping Marlow, although the market lapsed before 1600. From 1301 to 1307, the town had its own Member of Parliament, and it returned 2 members from 1624 to 1867. Marlow Bridge is a road traffic and footbridge over the River Thames in England between the town of Marlow, Buckinghamshire, and the village of Bisham in Berkshire. It crosses the Thames just upstream of the Marlow Lock on the reach to Temple Lock. The bridge is a Grade 1 listed building. There has been a bridge on the site since the reign of King Edward III, which was stated in around 1530 to have been of timber, though an original crossing to the Knights Templar of Bisham may date from 1309. In 1642, this bridge was partly destroyed by a parliamentarian army. In 1789, a new timber bridge was built by public subscription with a contribution from the Thames Navigational Commission to increase the headroom underneath. The current suspension bridge was designed by William Tierney Clark and was built between 1829 and 1832, replacing a wooden bridge further downstream which collapsed in 1828. All Saints' Church is located at the very bottom of the High Street in Marlow, on the banks of the River Thames, just before you get to Marlow Bridge. Though there was a church in Marlow as early as 1070, the present Church of All Saints is a Victorian creation, built after the spire of the old church collapsed in 1831. The old building was demolished and a new church constructed of Bath stone, topped by a graceful spire soaring above the town. The combination of spire and bridge form one of the most unforgettable Thames sights. Marlow's original prosperity was brought about by the Knights Templar, who had a house at nearby Bisham and built the first bridge over the River Thames here. Marlow Lock itself was built as a timber pound lock in 1773 and reconstructed in stone in 1825. In that same year, a new lock was built alongside the old one, which was filled in. A private house now sits on the site of the original lock. The new lock was rebuilt by the Thames Conservancy in 1927, and it's this lock we see here today. There is also a weir at Marlow Lock, which stretches above the lock. A weir at Marlow Lock is recorded in the Domesday Book. Here we have Wootton Boatyard. Since 1908, on the same banks of the River Thames, 5 generations of Wootons have been building, restoring, repairing, maintaining and mooring traditional and vintage wooden boats. Just past Gibraltar Islands. During 2014, an amphibious house was built on the Gibraltar Island, the project being documented for the Channel 4 television series Grand Designs. The house was built so that the basement acted as the boat's hull, sitting in the tank, so that if the island flooded, the house would float. Bourne End's original location differed from today's established village centre and was a half-mile downstream on the River Thames. The name refers to the end of a river, Bourne being the obsolete term for river, and derived from the mouth of the River Wye. Then a hamlet, it appears on Morden's 1722 map of Buckinghamshire as Bourne End. It was noted in the 19th century, however, that the name had been corrupted to Bone End, apparently through local mispronunciation and thence on official maps and documents. In 1858, the Vicar of Woburn succeeded in reversing the change, and the corrected name remains in use today. The length of the River Wye was the provider of water power for many mills in the valley for hundreds of years, and Bourne End was no exception. There were 4 on the final stretch of the river: Prince's Mill, Jackson's Mill, Headson Mill, and Lower Mill. These mills were historically the predominant employers in the area, along with the local farms and 2 wharfs on the Thames. In the early 19th century, the settlement known as Bourne End was a hamlet of Woburn Parish, along with others such as Spring Gardens, Eggham's Green, Cawes End, Heavens Lee, and Upper Bourne End. This changed with the emergence of the Wycombe Railway Company in 1846. By 1854, Isambard Kingdom Brunel had designed and constructed a railway linking Maidenhead to High Wycombe via Bourne End. The station at Bourne End was originally named Marlow Road. Then in 1873, a branch line to Marlow was built, and a year later the station was renamed Bourne End Station to avoid confusion with the new station at Marlow Town. The railway created more travel opportunities for locals and greatly benefited the mills, and thus Bourne End expanded on a greater scale than other similar settlements in the surrounding area. Bourne End Railway Footbridge is a railway bridge carrying the Marlow branch line and a footpath over the River Thames in Bourne End, Buckinghamshire. It crosses the Thames on the reach between Cookham Lock and Marlow Lock. The bridge was originally constructed in wood by Isambard Kingdom Brunel as part of the Wycombe Railway, opened in 1854 and operated in broad gauge until 1870. The narrow spans were unpopular with river traffic, and the bridge was reconstructed in steel in 1895. A footbridge cantilevered out from the railway bridge was added in 1992 to take the Thames path across the river. This substitutes for the historical towpath crossing point at Spade Oak Ferry, about 1 kilometre upstream of the bridge. In 2013, the bridge was restored and repainted in green, and a large number of rivets which had rusted away were replaced. The restoration took nearly a year to complete, being finished in December. There was a plan to electrify the line, but due to the cost overruns during electrifying the GWR main line, this has apparently been postponed indefinitely. Situated on the banks of the River Thames, opposite the town of Bourne End, the chalk grasslands of Cock Marsh make for a pleasant riverside stroll. Footpaths weave through the grasses and wild flowers, or if you're feeling more energetic, you can climb to the top of the chalk slope to be rewarded with the views over the Buckinghamshire countryside and the river below. Cock Marsh is common land and has been grazed by cattle for centuries. In the summer months, you'll find cows in the meadow or maybe wallowing in the Thames. Grazing means that the land has become rich in wildflowers, including several species of orchid. Cock Marsh is home to 4 circular Bronze Age burial mounds. When first created, the large barrow had a diameter of 90 foot and would have been around 8 foot high. Today, although much diminished, the largest mound is still very obvious. Excavation of the mounds in 1874 found remains of a woman accompanied by what was left of a funeral feast in the largest mound, whereas one of the smaller barrows contained the remains of a child. The elaborate nature of these burials suggests that these people were of high importance and may possibly have been the family of a local chieftain. Finds also included cremation burials, flint tools, pottery, animal bones, part of a shield and a knife.